what's called a press table.
That's what's called an amazing panorama shot.
Right?
Too. That was
I've been working on this.
No jib or anything.
I've been working on this because I do my 3D thing with this. This is fun. Batman vs. Teenage Mutant.
This is fun.
Sorry.
First question.
That's okay.
Open it up,
How
guys. Talk
trippy
to
is
him.
it to be both Batman and Joker in the same movie?
Come on. That sentence right there to say is trippy enough. I thought he was drunk. Gary called me and he's like, hey, I got an idea for you. Why don't you be both Batman and Joker? And you literally, I don't know if you felt this way.
Well, did you get to work with the guy playing Joker?
What?
Did you work together?
Who? Hey, the same person?
Yeah.
He won't work with anybody else. You can't look him in the eye. It's really, really awkward. I won't take any line reads. That was such a great question. That completely derailed me.
How trippy was it?
I was so trippy that I stumbled walking into the studio. You always, I don't know if you felt this way, but I always feel like they're going to recast me. That this is just glorified scratch track, and it was like, we tried it with Troy. And then you start realizing, I'm being an arrogant, pompous ass by thinking that my performance could bring down something that's as awesome as Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's a good concept, you know? And as you go through it, the movie that plays out in my mind is totally different than the movie that we're going to watch today together. And the first time I watched that Shredder fight, I was like, that is exactly, that's what I want to see happen with comic books. We can't really talk about this, but Into the Spider-Verse was the first, hero movie I was like, that's a comic book come to life. And then we had that moment, that Shredder fight in the beginning where I was like, I can see this as the panels and it's just popping out into life. You're one of my favorite characters, dude.
I've been loving this character for a decade. Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah?
And so people are asking, is it Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul? And apparently DC has come out with a statement. And that's it, yes.
And this is Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul is how he's known, and only the League of Assassins will call him Ra's al Ghul.
What a great way to hand wave the Only the ones who have been a part of League of Shadows and didn't really grow up to watch animated series, they call him this.
I call him Ra's al Ghul, and I figure he's the head of the League of Assassins, and he's the demon's head, so I call him Jeremy.
Did you? I'm sorry, I'm going to interview him just because maybe you guys.
No, this is kind of cool.
I grew up, and I probably you and I have talked before. You and I have talked before. You and I have talked before.
We talked
before,
with
for sure.
Lego one. Yeah.
I talk about this all the time. How I used to race home every day, and at 4 o'clock, Batman the Animated Series came on, and I was like, there's a great shot that you guys are going to see in the opening shot where I'm like, they looked and went, that's the opening from the animated series.
It's the dark series.
Yeah.
The dark Batman.
It's the blimp, with the spotlights down, and I was like, I freaked out. But what was his name? Not Christopher Lee, but who played him in the animated series?
Kevin Conroy.
No. Who?
David Warner played Ra's al
David
Ghul.
Warner
Yeah.
played Ra's al Ghul in the series. And I was like, man, they did such a good job of that's the presence that I feel from this character, and the animation style, the character style is so similar. The first time that I heard you, when you first walk out, I don't even spoil anything. When you first walk out, I went,
I've been wanting, I've been ever since Batman Begins, ever since Liam Neeson kicks this guy's ass
your arms will take care of themselves. I was like, that's really smart.
I was in love with this character, and I've been collecting comics since I was a kid. And just the idea of a character that is centuries old, that has all this experience, all this knowledge from the masses of humanity, from going like a vampire. He's been living year after year after year, watching empires rise and fall. That's an incredible character to be able to portray someone who is so methodical and so focused on one mission. And he's not necessarily wrong.
No.
Batman and him are not necessarily going for different things. It's just Ra's is willing to do whatever it takes, whereas Batman's like, no. It's kind of like the other comic book company has a similar kind of dichotomy between Professor X and Magneto.
Yeah.
Right, the other company.
Yeah.
That which shall not be named at this particular table, but if you catch me outside. I've always looked at Batman and Ra's as Holmes and Moriarty.
Yes.
We're
That's great.
only we just happen to be on opposite sides of this. But really, if we sit down, it's like that scene in Heat where Pacino and De Niro sit down from across
Love
each
that
other.
scene.
Like we
Love
we
that
could do this because we're really on the same side. You just happen to have a badge and I don't.
That's a great scene.
It's a great scene.
I don't want to have to bring you down. I don't want to have to
I
kill
don't
you.
You don't understand. If I see you, I'm gonna kill you.
I understand. If I see you.
I wish this was
Worst
bigger
De
for me.
Niro and worst. That's your takeaway from this roundtable. It's like it actually hurt his performance in the movie we saw later.
No. The animated remake of Heat. You're totally there playing both.
Well, since you did that, when you're doing Batman and the Joker, did you do the voices separately with Batman Batch and Joker Batch, or did you talk to yourself when you had to?
I mean, you're gonna see in the movie how that plays out. But I like doing things. A writer sits down and they're like, "This is how I see this thing playing out," and I believe my job is to meet them where they're at, as opposed to them having to adjust themselves to what I feel comfortable with. Look, I can control the tea and I can control the temperature of the room, but ultimately, that script is bigger than all of us. So I like to do it as they laid it out. Even if a lot of times we're like, so we got this kind of big fight at the very beginning, like, let's go, let's do it, let's get into it. And there's 2 fights in the beginning, so I kind of bit off a little bit more than I could chew. But to me, it's like that feels more true to the performance. It's like if Batman's exhausted after a fight, then let's not fake being exhausted. It's like I just scream, and well, you didn't, bastard, you didn't have to do anything. But I sweat. I've watched Mark do Joker before, and it's just effortless. It's not fair. He's too good at it. And whenever I do Joker, it's like I leave. It's like I left that session. I was like, I don't know if I can talk for a while. Like I don't think I'll ever be the same again. And you leave and you're sweating, and
Oh, I know what you're talking
You know
about.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Roz doesn't exert a lot of effort in his fights because he's just such a badass ninja.
Yeah, he doesn't have to
But
have more power.
I've done plenty of voice sessions where I have to oof ah oh ah, and then like at the end of it you're sweating and you're actually sore from all the imaginary blows you've received. But in real life, do you talk to yourself?
Dude, this is what's so funny. Melissa Hopjay and Gary Mariano are the ones that dreamt up this stupid idea to put me in this, 2 characters in the same movie. And they did it because they know that I do this when cameras aren't rolling and no mics are in play. I will just go back and forth between these 2 people talking. Why are you talking? Yeah, you're getting this, aren't you? Good for you. Ringtone. This is what we do as actors. We're crazy people. We're crazy people walking around with these crazy characters in our head, and we're just waiting for someone to give us an opportunity to just to get them out, and to give us the proper catharsis that we can do a shared experience.
And not be put in the side.
Cas,
And not
does
silent.
Jeremy view the Shredder as
Way
a
to bring
worthy?
a call back in.
That's what he's
Jeremy.
Does
Yes.
he view the Shredder as,
AKA
as a worthy equal? He can maybe pass the mantle to and maybe marry Talia, or does he
Shredder?
or does he see him as the means to an end?
How are you going to? He offered clear. By the way, so answer the question for our gentleman friend. But like the nerd in me is going, how?
You are talking to a man who, as I said, has been alive for centuries. This man does not suffer fools.
No.
Well, and Shredder, he can get things done in his own way, but Russ doesn't like to play with others. He likes to be in charge, and he likes the people to be at least mentally stable.
So that he can
Kind of high bar.
steal their semen and impregnate his daughter to give him a bastard son that would go on to be his Robin. That's how this works.
That's how it works. So I don't know if Roz would view Shredder as particularly competent and dependent.
Well, he can't even beat a bunch of mutant turtles.
Exactly.
Well, guy
Unless
dressed
he
as a
can
bat,
handle
guy dressed as a
amphibians, then
blender.
maybe.
You take your pick.
Which is really the crazier. The blender's a little bit more functional. What if you run into a guy that's not scared of bats? You're like, I find them cute. Like, well, my whole thing doesn't work. I need you to be
What
scared.
is Roz's relationship with his grandson in this movie?
That's a good question. I don't think that's actually broached in this movie. I think this
You're
movie.
an absentee grandfather.
He is an absentee grandfather. Yeah. I mean, he's got big things to do. Russ has a lot. He's got a lot on his plate. This movie, from what I've been able to observe, is really an homage to the fans. The creators, the writer, the director, the producers, they're all huge fans and geeks and nerds themselves. And what they've tried to do with this project, in addition to just telling an amazing and fun story, is give the fans of both franchises something to really sink their teeth into, all sorts of winks and nudges and nods to the histories of both the DC and the TMNT fandom. So I don't think it goes into the kind of depth and details of that level of storytelling. And also, you have to understand, Batman and Ra's al Ghul is a very dark part of a comic book franchise, and the Turtles, I mean, it's a completely different tone.
Yeah.
And so we're blending these two tones, and they managed to do it really brilliantly. So you're going to get to see a lot of tongue-in-cheek, dark humor coming out of our mouths that you might not have normally seen, because we have to deal with this turtle world.
And what surprised me with that is how you could have this super, super dark moment, and then it feels completely endemic to the franchise for Michelangelo to just say something stupid and off the cut. You guys are gonna see, you're like, wow. And like you said, we're blending tones and we're clearly crossing lines, and maybe that's part of the buy-in. When you sit down, it's in the title, it's like Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever. You know, it feels like kind of a fever dream, so you buy into the craziness from the very beginning.
It is a fever.
But it does manage to have, like, I believe this is a Batman story, and I also believe it as a Turtle story.